Next question.
Hi, Son. It's a question for Leroy. I'm a big fan of your work, and I'm just wondering how the punk scene influenced your writing, and JT, Leroy, and what your plans in the future, and
Well, thank you. We're just talking about that. Most people don't know that J.T. Leroy was actually one of the founding members of the Bad Brains. Right? You forgot that, right? You forgot the photos, and he was also one of the founding members of Discord House, too. Like I was talking about feeling disenfranchised and wanting so much to fulfill what I felt was my ability to transmit this energy and to transcend the boundaries of you can't do this. And then finally, this is my movement. This is what I recognize is a true voice of kids speaking about what was true for me. And then my gender made it not possible to really be who I am and what I need to do. That if I wanted to be a girlfriend, or if I wanted to sit on the sidelines, then I can really go. And you can't really get it. If you're a guy and you could really do it, it's the same thing. If you are a minority group and the door's shut, then you know that rage. Fuck. You're telling me I can, but that's a lie. That's a fucking lie. But it was also the idea that no rules. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You don't have to listen to their rules. They say doors shut, you find a way around. We did that every day. We found another way. And people were turning tricks. They were changing their gender. They did what they needed to do. And I did that. By any means necessary, but that's holding to your truth. And to me it was with holding compassion. It was how do you tell your truth and allow people to see a world that they were turning their back on. I was a ward of the state. I was in a group home, right? And for me it was like, how do I make people care? How? I will find a way to transcend that. And that's what it was. What I'm doing now is I'm writing, man. I completed a screenplay. It's hard because the articulation in the mainstream media very similar to what it was about punk when they first encountered it. They did not know what this was. What animal is this? Well, it's bad. It's evil. We don't understand it, so let's label it. It's something to be frightened of. And when I was first revealed as J.T. Leroy, the articulation was one of like, holy fuck, what is this? It's a demon seed. And I knew how to handle that because I came out of the punk scene. I'm used to that. You just shut the fuck up and bide your time and keep doing what you're doing. And now, it's changed. Now it's like, oh, wow. So I'm writing and I'm documenting like girls that I was in a group home with and I was institutionalized with, starting from when I was a kid I was doing that. I'm interested in that, how you get voices heard, which I think punk is about, which is in this book, this phenomenal photograph of kids saying, it's like the Sham 69, if the kids are united, they will never be divided. How will you find your voice? How can you communicate that we have a light inside us that needs so much to be validated and to be heard? And there was a way in this time period that kids came together when there was no hope, when there was no way, and found a way to do it. It's an honor to that spirit. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Another question? One last question.
Steve, it can't be just one last question, can it?
It is one last question.
I don't know, can I answer the question?
It means one question.
I have more than one question, but I'm actually on page 208 in this book. There's a picture of me with John Dancy from Urban Waste. My name isn't on it, but that's all right. I'm Ken Wagner. But anyway, I'm from the old school. I was there as a little kid. I was 11, 12, 13, there I am right there. But my question is because I am a New Yorker. And I was one of those people that when you put out the first book, which I have with me, I was a complainer because there was a lot missing. And I know there was a lot of gripes, a lot of beefs, because people were like, you know, where was the representation? I don't know who you interviewed and how this all came about, but obviously now you have second edition. I really don't need this microphone. You have the second edition, and I notice New York is way expanded. We got 30 pages now. All right, we have the most pages in that book. Okay? Well, what I want to know is, from the first book, how did you get to that point? Obviously, now the second book, you had to put out a second book
I'll tell you
to rectify some of the issues.
Sure.
I know other scenes, there are little snippets. I was speaking to Katie the clean lady. We know John. She had a problem with, this is very off stupid, but she had a thing with how you spell the name. You spelled it in the first book, C-L-E-I-N. No, it's really K-L-E-E-N-I-G. I noticed in the second book, because I'm anal like that, and I read it. You got it right. I told her that. She's happy. There are little things in there that.
Well, that's totally fine, and I'll take the hits, but let me be very clear about stuff. The New York music was not well documented. Really wasn't. Like I look at I remember talking to the singer of Ultraviolence, and he's like, "What about me?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry, I didn't have the 3 cassette compilations you were on. I didn't know it." You know what I'm saying? Right. And that's what we're dealing with a lot here too. It's like, it's not like, it's not like I'm trying to deal with the Me Too. It's more like these bands were valid, right? It's like I do know that. It's like, and I take knowledge for what I know. When I started writing this book, it was pre-internet. It was like, you didn't call up 911 and get the number for Joey Shithead. You had to be kind of deep into this stuff. So I knew what I knew and I talked to who I talked to. But at a certain point, it's like, Jerry Williams is my editor. I'm Harley, Jimmy, Rabies. I talked to everybody. I learned everything I could, but I missed. I did miss some bands, but I really didn't know that my job when writing this book was to name check every band that ever played CBGBs. No, it wasn't about that. But I do try with this new. Right.
And the ideal, it wasn't about being noticed, being written, being ideal, or some ideal or famous. It's great that something happened like that in terms of the genre, but the scene had nothing to do with anybody becoming famous back then, and we were happy about it. And when it grew, they opened all the doors, and all the posers came in. I'm sorry about that word, but when they all came flying in the door, that's when it all got all messed up and splintered. And that's why there's so many people with so many different problems and different issues.
Look, I could take it. There's people that contact me every day and tell me it's their Bible and they love it. It's like I wrote a controversial book. Isn't that what punk rock's supposed to be? And it's like, thank you. And I know that from you because big Blazed fan, But also, really great band, right? This was an impossible task. You look at rock movies. Nobody likes a rock movie. Everybody hates Woodstock. Everybody hates every movie that was ever made. I fucking stood up there, took my ground, and said, "Yo, this is motherfucking hardcore. I don't care what you said. I was at these shows. I'll stand my ground." I think with this, a very famous, a famous writer friend of mine said, whenever you address a totally new subject, it takes until the second edition to get it right. And I certainly found that to be the case. And this is certainly the book I set out to write in 1995. That came out in 2001. So I'll go to bat for this one. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was rough. It was an oral history. It was like archaeology. It was like trying to frame something out of this history. And now through all this, I think I've done it. So I hope you get the book. Cheap Christmas present for all you punk rockers. Thank you.
Just I can ask that something. I never do these things, these speaking things, because I think a lot of times they aren't as honest as they might be. This guy is one honest motherfucker. I love this guy. I've known him for many, many years. This book, of all of the books that I've seen about punk rock, like he said, there's no way it's going to be perfect. This is the best book I've seen on American punk to this day. So
Laura, Dave, and Stephen. They're all going to stick around. Come on up and make fun. If you wouldn't mind going to the discographies sections right next to me. We'll form a line between them, and we'll get they'll stick around for everyone. So please.
And you know, it's also really important to support a store like the Strand. You know, like seriously, that's why we're here. Thanks a lot. Thanks for coming.